Today we're speaking with branding expert and entrepreneur Daymond John. Outside of appearing on Shark Tank, he's also doing other business ventures. Those are always in the works, right?
Of course, all the time.
But getting back to Shark Tank, it's such a hit. Every Friday night I'm having a glass of wine, it's me and you, and I'm watching your reaction. It's so awesome.
Well, I'm glad you're watching mine because I'm forced to sit up there with those other four bobos. But other than that, it's a great show and we have a good time and we make money, we lose money, but either way, you know, and a lot of people love it because they get educated.
What's it like behind the scenes of the show?
What's it like behind the scenes? You know, behind the scenes are you only see 8 minutes of usually an hour to an hour and a half pitch. We get really vicious with each other.
Really?
But after all the deals, whether we win or lose, we go back, each one of the sharks, and a new deal comes in and we get over it and we just start fighting again.
Oh, I love watching these people walk in. I'm like, oh no, what are they going to bring to the table? What's the most bizarre thing someone's ever pitched to you?
I think last week the guy who wanted to put some kind of tube in a lake or a stream, and he said he was going to produce a couple of $1 billion worth of gold because of all the currents would float around and dig it all up from the earth and make gold. And you know what? I hope that he's right because he was really crazy as far as I was concerned.
Oh my gosh. Do you get people coming up to you off the street trying to pitch to you and listen to my idea? I have this great idea.
I get people all the time off the street, you know, at dinner, friends, family, whatever the case is, you know, in public bathrooms. I just ask them to wash their hands before they shake
your hand. Yeah. How do you deal with that? Are you just kind of used to it? Are there times when you're like, oh, just kind of leave me alone? You
know what? It's exciting when people really want to invest in you. You know, for your dream, you know, and I like the fact that they come to me. I get excited. I see that same twinkle in their eyes that I had in my eyes as a young entrepreneur. And then sometimes, hopefully, the advice, even though it may sound harsh, will save somebody, you know, from wasting their savings or whatever the case is, and make the next Daymond John Mark Cuban, you know?
Yeah. So how did you get started in the first place, for people who might not know?
Well, I got started because I created a company named FUBU with 3 of my other high school friends. And it became a really big, popular sports apparel company. And that then led me to have other ventures and buy into other companies and other clothing companies. And then, you know, I'm on Shark Tank making deals.
You are who you are now. Obviously, it wasn't easy for you. If this were so easy, everyone would be doing it. They'd be working for themselves. What advice do you have for people who want to start their own business?
Well, I think the first thing is I always tell people to learn the business, whatever way you have to. If you have to go intern someplace, read, whatever the case is, make the mistakes very small. Also, if you're fortunate enough to have a day job still, slowly do what you're doing as a hobby. Put in 3 hours a week, 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week. Before the end of the year, you'll have hundreds of hours into this new job or business or concept. Don't just jump into it. Don't mortgage the home. Go to the boss, flip him the birdie and say, I'm going home tomorrow to start my new rubber duck company. Just slowly get into it.
And now, I mean, times are changing. We have social media now.
Yes.
We have, you know, Facebook, Twitter, all of it, which I'm sure maybe you didn't have that luxury to just try to connect with people when you started out.
Absolutely not. We walked up to every single person with a t-shirt and tried to sell them.
Right.
And what I love about social media these days are that, you know, grandma and grandpa will always buy that shirt or that new thing you have because they'll support you, but go into social media where nobody knows who you are, let them dig in their pocket and come out and pay you for that idea, that brand, that piece, that product. Then you know if you're really onto something.
Now, how do you stand out? I know there's lots of people, always I'm seeing on Facebook, hey, I came up with this new idea. I have something new. And I think it just almost gets buried in the feed, and you kind of just, how do you stand out so people kind of recognize you?
Well, that's the whole thing about how do you become a brand or a product. There's absolutely nothing new out there. It's only a new form of delivery. Look at a Twitter or Facebook. You know, 300 years ago, we were putting a message in a bottle or tying it to a pigeon. There's nothing absolutely new. What is the new way that you're going to make it a star? You know, I didn't put 3 sleeves on a shirt. My shirt didn't go and cook you a sandwich or make anything else. It was still a T-shirt with 2 sleeves. But I attached it to a certain community. It was hip-hop. It was a certain time. There's always a new way to deliver a traditionally supported and product that everybody loves.
Have you ever discovered anyone, you know, through social media and been like, hey, I'm kind of interested in your product or service?
People have come to my attention through social media, and then I think what happens is guys such as myself and other entrepreneurs who invest, we keep an eye on you from there. And you know, when you popped up on social media all of a sudden, and then I see it in the store, and then I see you in an interview, and then I give you that call, hey, maybe we want to do something together.
Okay, so now if I'm going to come up to you on the street, I've heard this term, the elevator pitch. What is it, and how do you master it?
Here's the big challenge in the elevator pitch. People usually come up and say, hey, I like what you're doing, this is my thing, and then I want to you know, create this product, and then I want to save the world. None of that is important to who you're pitching. The elevator pitch is, the theory is you have 90 seconds. So you have to know who you're pitching, and you have to make something valuable for them. If you walked up to me and said all that, that wasn't important to me. But if you walked up to me and said, I know you have hip-hop clothing, but I can also give you skateboarder clothing so that you can leverage your business in Macy's and now sell, instead of selling one department, sell two. And I have a whole bunch of sales, and I can pass those on to you, and you can immediately make half the profit.
So it might be good to research the person, not just run up to them and...
Going back to social media, you already know who the people are. Just Google them. Find out what their interest is. Find out what I'm passionate about. Maybe I want to save the seals. You better pitch me something that's about saving the seals.
Yeah.
And if it's not about saving the seals, the money we're going to take is going to go save the seals.
To it, yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's helpful for people out there. I know a lot of people are trying to start their own business. Also, you've written a lot of books, too, to help. Can you tell us about those? Well,
my first book was called Display of Power, and that's really the history and the story of FUBU and my three other partners and how we came up, and then how FUBU changed the way of marketing and branding. And then my second book is, after my first season of Shark Tank, I realized that people did not understand that we invest in people more than we invest in brands. We invested in Steve Jobs or Phil Knight or Donald Trump. There's a million people who buy real estate and sell real estate, but why do we love Donald Trump so more and Trump's so much, and Trump's buildings are doing so well? So we invest in people, and that was my second book, The Brand Within.
So do you talk also about, like, you know, how to present yourself and polish yourself before you go ahead and maybe pitch?
I do. I speak extensively about it. I talk about the small things you could do to your wardrobe, the small things you could do to, you know, people to leave a lasting, you know, memory about your business, and even in negotiations, the small things you could do to kind of curve the negotiation a little bit towards your side. When
I think of you, I think of this busy, you know, businessman. What do you do in free time? Do you have free time?
I always have free time. I go fishing. I'm a big snowboarder. I spend time with my kids. I buy more businesses. No, but my life is really an extension of business, because that's just what I do. I'm just a really busy, loving life person. I picture you not the type that sits around and just kind of relaxes. I do not sit around. I do not. You got to be doing something. But life is so beautiful. It takes me to many parts of the world, and any day there, any time there, I'm going to spend one day for myself, and then one day on business, and I'm going to just fit it in. Yeah. What are your upcoming projects that you can tell us about? My upcoming projects, my most recent ones, are the ones that I'm working with on Shark Tank, which are collectively as two really exciting companies. One is called Litter SF. Litter San Francisco. It's a jewelry company, ladies' body jewelry, which is great. And they're taking up a lot of my time because they're great entrepreneurs, great girls. And another one's called Easy VIP, which is another entrepreneur on Shark Tank that Mark Cuban and I did a deal with, who is basically the open table for nightclubs. If you want to go up to a nightclub and you want to buy a table, and you don't want to stand outside of the red rope because the guy doesn't know you, but you're an executive, you have money, you just don't go out all the time. You go on to Easy VIP, and you purchase your table, and you have a good time. Oh, that sounds awesome. No waiting around. And no waiting around, no embarrassment. You know, your corporate client or your girlfriend or your boyfriend are going, what the hell's going on? I'm on the list. Yeah, none of that. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and giving us some tips. Thank you. I'm going to put your website on our website so people can check it out. It's great. I checked it out, by the way, yesterday. Loved it. To learn more about Daymond John, head to cbsatlanta.com's entertainment page. I'm Jennifer Banks.